everyone, this is Michelle Stelling with the National Association of Digital Scrapbookers, and today I'm going to talk about templates and how to use templates correctly. If you'll notice down here to the left hand side there's a template. On the right hand side is my photo that I created out of this template. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to be working in Adobe Photoshop Elements. You can also use Adobe Photoshop with these templates as well. Now these templates save you tons of time. So if you don't have a whole lot of time to digiscrap and it's not really your hobby per se, then maybe you might want to try using templates. Now the first thing that I do is I open up the template, and it's a PSD file, and I want to save it as a different name because I want to keep this template in case I want to use it later. So I'm not going to use this exact page. I'm going to go File and Save As, and I'm just going to go ahead and call this Cousins Beach, and it's going to be saved as a PSD. Now look in the upper left hand corner, you're going to see cousinsbeach.psd. This means that the original will not be touched, which is good because especially if you're brand new to this, you don't want to override that original because you might want to use it again. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at these layers. So I went to Window and Layers, and it pulls up my layers. Now another thing, these templates are generally for like intermediate users. So if you're a very beginner user, you might want to join the National Association of Digital Scrapbookers membership area, and inside that membership area there's tons and tons of videos starting from the very basics all the way to the advanced level. So let me go ahead and show you here. This is comprised of different layers. If you notice, I'm going to turn on and off these layers, and that's where we're going to be putting some of our pages. Now I will go to my very bottom layer, which is the side panels in this template, that is, and I'm going to go ahead and File and Open. I'm going to open up the page that I want to use for these side areas. So I took a picture of sand, so I'm going to open up that. This is a 12 by 12 300 resolution. I'm going to take my move tool, I'm going to move this into my page. Now notice I was on this bottom layer, so anything I bring into my page is going to go right smack on top of it. That's very important. So I'm just going to go ahead, let's undo that because I moved the wrong layer. I'm going to make sure I'm on this layer, and I'm going to move it. I grab it down here and I'm going to move it to the center, and now you'll notice that the sand, I'm going to zoom in closely so you can see that it is grains of sand here, that I took a picture of actual sand, and I'm going to double click to come zoom back out, and that is inside of those areas, but we haven't actually clipped it yet. It's called a clipping path or a clipping mask, or a grouping mask is what Photoshop Elements calls it. So the quick way that I do it is I go right in between these two layers and I hold down my Alt key, and see these double circles? You click and that clips it. Now you're not going to notice much of a difference just yet. Let's go to the next layer, the upper and lower panels. I click on that layer, I go find that piece of paper that I want to pull in for that, and I believe I called this blue paper, and this is just a paper that I created. You can use DigiKits and all that kind of stuff, and I'm going to take my move tool, drag it and drop it. I'm going to hold down my shift key before I drop it, and that will center it perfectly. Okay, so holding the shift key down while you drag and drop it will center it perfectly. Again, I go over here, hold down my Alt key, and when I go in between those two layers, I click. See what it does is it masks it back in those areas. I go to the next layer, I make sure I select it, and then I go to File and Open, and this is going to be my border. In fact, I'm not even going to be using any papers for that border. I just want this to be a white border. So I'm going to cancel that, and I'm going to go over and click on my foreground color, and I'm going to set a white color here. Click OK. And then I can either A or B, I can fill that layer with that. So I can just click and get my paint bucket tool and fill that layer with that color. Next, I'm going to go to this inside area. That's where my photo is going to be. So I click on the box that says photo. I go to File and Open, and I'm going to find my photo. Again, I drag it and drop it into my page. It goes right above that photo. Now I'm going to need to make it just a little bit bigger, just a hair bigger, right about there. And I'm going to commit to it. So I click on that little green check, and then I go again, hold my Alt key down, go right in between both of these layers, and I clip it inside. Now he's being chopped off, so I'm going to move this up just a little bit with my move tool. Move it on up right about there. So you can move it wherever you want to behind that mask. Alright, my next thing is to go ahead and mask these out. So I'm going to go to my symbols, and I'm going to go ahead and get a piece of paper. Hold down the Shift key, drag it, drop it, and then we want to go in and hold down the Alt key. Make sure you get those double circles and click in between the two layers. That will mask that out. Okay, we're almost finished. We just have to do the title and then add some text at the top there. So I'm going to my next layer, which is the title, and I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit closer so we can see what we're doing here. And I'm going to go get my text tool, highlight the word title, and I'm just going to type cousins. And then down here I'm just going to put Ottawa Beach, and I'm going to do this in all capital. And I'm going to put the date because I always want to put the date on there. I'm going to back out just a little bit. And I don't want this font for my cousins. So I'm going to highlight the word cousins. I'm going to go up to my font area, and I'm going to choose a different font. In this case, I know it's DS Monster. And I'm going to go ahead and change it to that. You can pick whatever font you find appropriate. Let's back out. That's way too big. So let's go in there, and I'm going to highlight it, and I'm going to try a different size. 72, that might work. And I'm going to take my move tool, make sure I'm on that Ottawa Beach cousins layer, and you can move this to wherever point you want it. The cool thing about templates is that you don't have to stick with the template. In fact, I may even go to one of these corners here and enlarge this just a bit. Okay, and I don't know if I like this. Maybe we might even go like something like this. We don't have to overlap it. I think that I want Ottawa Beach to be in white as well, and maybe a little bit smaller. I think that's too overbearing, so let's go to 24 point. Perfect, that's what I like. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is up here, I'm just going to go ahead and put these names of the people who are in this photo. And last but not least, JC. Okay, now again, we can alter the size of this text. What I could do is go in there and kind of pull it all the way to the corners here, and then click on my little check to commit current operation. And I could change the font if I want to, but I think I like that. And basically, we're already finished with that layout. It only took us a couple minutes. I just forgot to tell you how to put that little beach ball in the bottom left-hand corner. So basically, Photoshop Elements has some of these really cool little embellishments, I call them. Photoshop does not. Photoshop Elements does. So if you are using Photoshop, you won't find this. But you'll go to Window and Content. Here we go, the content section. So I'm going to go ahead and show you all of these, some of these different pieces in here. You've got a bunch of different border effects, but what I want to go down to and see more of are some of these embellishments. And here's my beach ball that I want to use. Actually, this is not this one. I think I'm going to try a different one. Let's go with this one right here. So I'm going to drag it and drop it into my page. Okay. Then I go back to my layers. And I want this to fall underneath this embellishment over here. So I'm going to take it, drag it, drop it down below that so it's behind it. Okay? And then I want to go ahead and put a drop shadow. So I'm going to go to my Effects panel. If you don't have it up and running, just go to Window and Effects. And then I'm just going to go ahead and put a slight drop shadow just so it gives it a little bit more dimension. Again, this is Michelle Stelling with the National Association of Digital Scrapbookers, and if you are a very, very beginner, you might want to consider membership. You get all kinds of free videos, and it's 24/7 inside the membership area. We also have DVDs that you can purchase. There's the 3-pack, which is the Intro, Intermediate, and Advanced. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. If you are interested in purchasing this template, go ahead and click on the link below. Thank you very much and have a great day. Bye-bye.